Plus, I want to talk about some Dracula. I like me some spoopy. So apparently, the director of Eternals, sticking with the Marvel theme, has been approached by Universal to do a Dracula movie. However, she's going to have an interesting spin on it. She said it'll be a sci-fi western. I'm initially hesitant on this one because it sounds like such a out there concept, like a sci-fi futuristic western. But I'll trust this director because Kevin Feige trusts her. He said her pitch for the Eternals was one of the best he's ever heard. But also she directed a movie coming out called Nomadland, which is getting really, really good reviews. Plus, I just love my Universal monsters, and I want more of them. They're my favorite. While Dracula's not my favorite of the monsters, it's probably still Invisible Man. I look forward to it. And if you're more of a traditionalist like me, we are still getting that too with Dracula. I looked into it. We are still getting the Karen Kusama Dracula. That's still happening. The director of Jennifer's Body is still doing another Dracula. That's going to be more of a traditional take, which I think is good. These characters are malleable. They're flexible. You can do different things with them. They're like Sherlock Holmes or the Joker. You can do different facets to the character, and I think that's what they're doing here. I'm not going to lie, I'm more interested in the traditional take. That being said, we've had so many traditional takes on Dracula. So, a sci-fi western by the person that's doing Eternals? Sure, I'm down for this. From everything I've read, Nomadland seems to be getting a lot of high praise and highlighting, as she said she will do with the Dracula movie, highlighting people that don't typically get the spotlight, like the marginalized and the oppressed. I would love to see a Dracula that preys on the weaker of society, the poor and the destitute, because they're easy victims to pick off, and it becomes like a village or society's boogeyman, basically. It's their version of Candyman, but it's Dracula. That could get me very, very interested. Michael, since you're the king of horror around here, what do you think about a new Dracula movie in addition to another Dracula movie?
I'm much more. I'm honestly much more interested in the former than this latter pitch, but new ideas and the fact that there's a reputation here, I'm not going to be skeptical by default out of the gate. It's just kind of hard to picture it in that particular climate, that context. Like what is science fiction in a western? Like, what does that look like? Does it look like a
Cowboys
like,
and aliens.
yeah, like I'm like, and you're gonna throw Dracula in there, like actual like vampire, or is it a metaphor for Dracula? Like they call this person like Dracula because of what they do. Like, does it actually mean they'll have fangs and suck blood of people? Like, if they're gonna go non-traditional in the context, they might go non-traditional in the character, which would interest me more, because I like the idea of where the Dracula, like the actual history and the lore behind, the actual character itself, as a vampire, like in haunting, and like you said, I don't know, man, it's difficult. I will say I will be a little optimistic. I will watch the trailer and decide then, but I got to see Eternals. Like, you can say it's great, but like, I like to see Eternals first before I go too gung ho for this.
That's true. I like that Universal, ever since they got burned hard with The Mummy in the Dark Universe, which, let's take a minute to just laugh at that stupidity. Remember that picture that had all of them together going, this is the future of our franchise, and then The Mummy came out, and oh boy, that was a movie. I appreciate that Universal learned from that really, really quickly, and are quickly going, okay, we still want to do our classic Universal monsters, but we're fine with them being strong individual outings that are completely detached from each other. Like The Invisible Man, while it wasn't my cup of tea, it did what I think this Dracula movie is going to do. A radically different take than the original that's more for a modern audience, and that's a great thing. We know we're getting a Van Helsing movie. Hallelujah! I'm the director of Overlord. I'm super amped about that. But Universal is learning their lesson and making best the best possible use of these characters by not having them connected. Yes, I would love a MonsterVerse, but I don't need them to be connected. Just tell good stories more than anything, because these characters have been around for over 100 years in cinematic form, or getting close to it. They saved Universal before. If they're in dire needs, they'll always go back to the well that, basically, the replenishing well that is horror for them. So I think this is a good idea. They're encouraging creative freedom. They're just going, you've got a nuts idea? Go for it. Let's do it. As opposed to, all right, universe first, story second. So I think Universal's learning their lesson, which can't often say for a lot of studios.